Welcome to Jason's Tech and IT videos. On today's video, we're going to look at the subject of low disk space. Low disk space. Today's video is aimed at beginner to intermediate users. One of the main concerns about low disk space is that according to some forums, it will affect your performance. And also with the upcoming new release of Windows 11, you might need to free up at least 20 to 25 gigabytes of disk space before you can actually run the upgrade. So originally I was going to do this video using the disk cleanup tool that's built into Windows, but while I was doing some research, I found out that this tool is going to be deprecated in the future, but I'm still going to show it to you. To access the disk cleanup wizard, you can click the start menu and type this PC and then just click there, or if you have a shortcut on your desktop like I do, you can just double click it and that will bring up all the disks on your machine. So to bring up the disk cleanup wizard, you'll just right click the disk and you'll say properties, and that will bring up the disk drive properties, and click the disk cleanup button. Initially, the first screen that you'll see is the basic cleanup. If you tick all of the boxes on the left hand side here, you'll see how much disk space you can free up. And as you can see, most of my space is sitting in the recycle bin. There is also the more advanced disk cleanup, which you can access by clicking Clean Up System Files. And you might get a UAC prompt when you click that button. Basically what you'll see here is some of the options that you saw on the previous screen, and it is completely safe to click all of these options, and you'll see that there are many more options that you didn't have in the previous window. But for the subject of this video, we'll be looking at using the Storage Sense tool. So Storage Sense is a new feature that was introduced with Windows 10 1809. And you can access it by clicking the Start button and clicking Settings, and then going to System. And then at System, click the Storage option. Storage Sense will activate on your machine the first time it runs below a certain threshold. I'm not 100% sure what that threshold is, but while I was filling up my disk yesterday to prepare for this video, it popped up for the first time. So on this storage screen, you'll see that the Storage Sense is currently turned off on my machine. You can click the Configure Storage Sense or Run It Now button, and that will take you to the configuration of Storage Sense, believe it or not. And as you can see on my screen, it's off at the moment. If we turn it on there, you'll see that we have different options there: every day, every week, every month, or during low free disk space periods. And there are a few more options down here. As you can see, it will also automatically delete your recycle bin. You can change that setting to 60 days or any of the other day values, or you can say never. Definitely don't recommend deleting files in the downloads folder, especially if you're one of those people that saves a lot of your online documents in the downloads folder. And I click that button and my computer is now freeing up space. And as you can see, we got a whole 17 megabytes. Yuppie. So unfortunately we didn't free up a lot of disk space there, but as you can see, the storage tool here gives you an overview of where most of your space is going. In a little while I'm going to show you an alternative program that you can use that will show you something a little bit different, maybe a little bit more helpful. So you'll see on this menu there are a lot of different options, and you can start at the top and start to remove software by size. And unfortunately, one thing I've noticed about this tool is that it doesn't actually show you space of software that's been installed within some gaming downloaders. For example, the Epic Games Store. So I've got Fortnite installed on this machine, and Fortnite actually doesn't appear anywhere on this list, which is not very helpful if you're trying to free up disk space. Yeah, so you could go to the next option on the list, and that would be videos, and it will show you where these videos are stored. And then if you look a little bit further down, you'll see something called System and Reserved, and that will show you spaces reserved for system files. Don't recommend that you remove anything from this option unless you're really desperate for disk space. And then a little bit further down, you'll see something called temporary files. And as you could see there on the main menu, about 20 gigabytes of files are being used up by these various options. So recycle bin is the most obvious one. And if you click there, it will, when you run this tool, it will delete your recycle bin. You also have delivery optimization files, Microsoft Defender, DirectX shader cache, Windows error reporting feedback and diagnostics, temporary Windows installation files. This one, when I'm working, I do find quite often that this is quite high. But unfortunately, when I ran storage since yesterday, it cleared out that folder for me. And temporary internet files will only be, I think, for Internet Explorer. And if you're happy with what you've selected, you can click Remove Files. So this tool gives you a very good overview of where the space on your machine is going. I personally prefer another tool which is free to download, which I'll leave a link in the description to. And that tool's name is WinDirStat, or longer name is Windows Directory Statistics. And when you run the program for the first time, it will show you all the drives available on your machine. And you basically just select the drive that you want and you click OK, and the little Pac-Man will start to calculate where the space is going. You'll see on the left hand side here that it shows the root of the drive, and it starts to show you a directory tree, and it will show you the percentage of what is using your disk space. And once it's done, you'll see that on the right hand side here I've got a list of the different file types that are using up the space with a percentage and a gigabyte value, as well as the number of files. And so if you click on there, it will show you in this directory map where the space is going. If you wanted to, you could go and click each block, and as you can see that each block represents the size of that specific extension. So as we can see over here, we have a 14.7 gigabyte file, which is in the MP4 format. And if I was to delete that, or wanted to delete that, I could just right click it and say delete to recycle bin or delete, no way to undelete. And as you can see, that's a shift delete. And if you didn't know, a shift delete is deleting without going to the recycle bin. And if we look at the next option on the list, I've got something called RMDP files. And these are located in the Epic Games control folder. Basically what that's telling me is that 50 gigabytes of space on my drive is dedicated to files that I need to play the game Control. That would also be an indication that if I wanted to free up disk space quite quickly, that I could just uninstall that program. Overall, I find the WinDirStat program to be slightly better than the Windows tool. Another program which is very helpful to identify where your disk space is going is Treesize. I'll also leave a link in the description. And as you can see, they have different versions. There's the free, and then there are the paid for versions. I'm currently using a paid for version on my Office PC. Let's just install Treesize there. Yeah, let's do a shortcut. And I recommend running it as administrator if you can. And as you can see, it's also starting to scan. And you'll see that it's already done. So if you look over at these options, you'll see that once again, the Epic Games control directory comes up. Also the users folder, which shows that once again, videos. The free tool of Treesize isn't really that great compared to WinDirStat, which gives you a slightly better feature set. Treesize, the paid for version, on the other hand, is definitely much better than WinDirStat, as it gives you different statistics. At work, I'm using the Treesize Professional software, and it is actually a very good tool. I'm just going to install the personal edition, and I'm going to show you what the personal edition looks like. And you can already see that the personal edition has much more bells and whistles than the free edition. The main one here that I use quite regularly at work is the top 100 files. And as you can see again, cyclones and control, and then some other video captures that are done a while ago. And once again, from here you can also delete files. And if you look at the extensions tab, you can see once again it will break it down for you by extension. And you can also filter by a specific group of extensions. And you'll see that for video files, I've got 94 in my users videos folder and another 1.1 gigabytes in program files under Epic Games. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful, and if you would like to be kept up to date about any future videos that I do, please remember to subscribe, and if you found any value in this video, please hit the like button. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.